Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Elite Life with Sam. I am here with a very, very special guest, Brian Pogue from GraceWorks here in Franklin, Tennessee. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we are done with the niceties and we're going to get right into this. Guys, I'm going to tell you why this is so special. We're coming up on Christmas and we were looking for a charity to work with, and you guys know how I am about working with churches and faith-based organizations. I'm very generally turned off by it. And we have lots of conversation about this. I know how you guys are as well. However, Crystal set this up, and again, I was hesitant to go, but she was like, no, girl, you've got to check them out. We went and toured their facility, and it is like nothing I have ever seen, truly. And I thought, how do more people not know about this? Why is this not plastered on every business? Why are there not partnerships out the wazoo? Guys, when I tell you, they are doing charity the right way. So we are going to get into this today. You're going to learn and you're going to laugh and you're going to fall in love with GraceWorks Ministry. And by the end of this, I know that you guys are going to be asking, how can I get involved? Because that's exactly how we were. We left there with such big ideas of how to partner with them now and going into 2026. So Brian, can you tell our listeners just a little excerpt of what GraceWorks is?
Yeah, thank you for having us. Those are very kind words that you did share. And we appreciate that you came and toured and that inspired you. We often say that the facility that we work in is holy ground. At times we feel like you should take off your feet before you walk, or your shoes before, keep your feet on. That would be impossible.
Just nub it all the way through.
Yeah, just go ahead and just the sacrifice that God's calling you
That's
to have.
right.
Yeah, take off your shoes, because it really is, you really don't understand it until you kind of go to our facility and you kind of see the impact and feel just how the community wraps around the individuals in our community. And so we've been around for over 30 years, and which is crazy. And Williamson County, Tennessee was a very different place. Franklin, quite frankly, was a very different place 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't what it is now. It isn't.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It was like farmland.
It was, yeah.
It was a bunch of farmers and ranchers. And
what I was told and what I've heard is it was where the place all the country music stars went to escape the hustle and bustle of Broadway and downtown. But it was mom and pop. Downtown was not what it is now. You know, all those different things. And so we have grown over that time to still meet the need. And the heart has always been to serve those within Franklin and then expanded to Williamson County, those who are in need. When we started, there was a lot of generational poverty, a lot of people who had grown up in poverty and just that's the way of life. And it was a way to serve them. It was a way for us as a community to come and wrap around. And it wasn't one church that founded it. It was several different churches. There's a whole discussion out there about who was the first and what, all that. But it was
lore.
several, but it crossed denominational ties,
which is also unheard of.
Unheard of in the South, or anywhere, like really to be able to say truly a bunch of churches coming together and individuals. And so when we started, it was always with the neighbor in mind, always with how do we serve them, care for them, and also not duplicate, like how do we work smarter, not harder. And so we've carried that mission on into our over 30 years, and our whole vision is neighbor serving neighbor by the power of God's grace. And we do that through food, shelter, and support. And so we have several different food programs. What you got to see is our Franklin Food Pantry, which serves anybody and everybody. We say if you have a stomach and you're hungry, you can come and get food. So we intentionally try to keep that a low barrier type of access, because food keeps you alive. And it's really important. A lot of different things, a lot of essential things come from that, from individuals, right?
Yeah.
So the way that children behave at school, the way that you show up at work. And so if that isn't easy, then, those start having ramifications. And so we want that to be easy. People can come once every 30 days. And the big part of how we're unique is that we just don't throw a bunch of canned food at you and then there you go, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah.
That is the end. That is not who we are. That is not what we want to do. That doesn't catch
He
our
is
vision.
not your Southern mama.
No. It is the serving component. We really look, or I know that our team and everyone there really looks and holds the serving component of how do we serve our neighbors to the fullest and to the best.
Yeah.
And the way that we do that is through what we call self-select. And so they're able to come in to like a shopping store-like environment, and they're able to select their own food. And we have guidelines and different things to help them stay and make sure that we have enough food for everyone that needs it. But we're able to just provide them that space and that opportunity.
So I want to pause because you were saying a lot, and I have a lot of
Yeah,
things
go
that
for
I
it.
want to break down. Okay, so we're going to go back to, let's talk about Franklin.
Yeah.
Because this is, I don't know if you're on TikTok much. I'm on it
I'm
all
not.
the time. And we have a pretty big platform over there. And so we see a lot of conversation about Franklin. Tennessee is the hot spot of the United States right now. Tons of industry is moving here. People are pouring in. I think it was, what were the numbers we were talking about? It was like 5,000 people per day in Nashville and the greater Nashville area. That's insane. I can tell via traffic that is true.
Yeah.
So people look at Franklin and see all the mansions and all the money and the fact that we have massive star power and celebrity that lives here. And you're saying that there's a vast contrast to that as well. There are still people here that live in severe poverty, and we've discussed people are not, they're kind of blind to that.
Yeah. I mean, when I have conversations in the community and I'm interact with new people, and I tell them what I do, if I'm at my gym or I meet them at a party or something, and I tell them what I do and where I work, they're like, really? In Franklin? And I'm like, oh yeah. Yes, and in Williamson County. What we see is our food, like I was talking about, we really want to serve anybody and everybody. So that has no county boundary. That anybody can drive. We have people who drive from Rutherford County, Davidson, which is like 2 hours round trip.
Yes.
To come and get food because they're so desperate. And we really see the resources that we have within Williamson County. So you talk about the influence and the finances that we do have. We really do see that, hey, we want to be a blessing to our surrounding communities. And so that's how we do that. We were able to serve and feed people because they're hungry. We want people to have access to that. And then when our shelter side of rent and utility assistance, there is a need because of all that growth, because of all the people that are moving in. Not only do we have those who are in poverty, who are struggling and maybe have grown up in that same kind of way, but more and more people, what we're seeing within Williamson County, are struggling just to make ends meet. I mean,
more so now than even in years past.
Yes, since I moved here, so I'm one of the people that moved in here. But I came
you're
in.
A transplant.
I'm a transplant, but I came in 2017, so I came before COVID. I'm a BC person.
Not heard that.
But before COVID.
Okay.
But now we're all grateful because In-N-Out's coming because all the Californians moved here. There you go. So I did come from California. I can say that out loud. I do.
Oh wait, no, my husband, he's from California too.
And we talked about it.
There you go.
Yeah,
You're welcome here.
Thank you.
Yeah, as long as you come here and act right, you're welcome here.
I get that. Don't California, Tennessee, right? That's what they say.
That's right.
We don't. We came here and we love it here and we don't want that. No.
Yeah.
And we love California too. And so, but moving here, it has changed even since we moved here. The cost of living, just the economy in general that's happened over in the last couple of years, food prices, all of those things since have happened from COVID.
Yeah.
It feels exponential in Williamson County.
So what is your response to people when they say they talk down about people who are on government assistance and need help like what GraceWorks offers? I know I have a personal story with this, but what is your response when you hear this? Because you interact with these people on a day-to-day basis. It's not as simple as get up and go to work.
Yeah. Wow. I think when I sit and think about those who are on those assistance programs, the majority of the individuals who I interact with, and this is my experience.
No, tell it.
Seem to be people who are really striving. They might not know any different in some ways because that's what they know. Just like the experiences I have and how I grew up, sometimes I have these patterns and these things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking like my parents right now, or I'm acting or I'm behaving in this way because that was the environment I was born into and I grew up in that nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
Type of thing. In the same way. And so these individuals who, again, are in those programs or in those ways, there might be individuals who might be taking advantage in some ways, but for the majority of what I see, those services are keeping them alive.
Yeah.
They're helping sustain life, and our services are there to even help them go further, and to actually help them look at those situations and have them take healthier steps to even maybe rise above those types of programs, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to use them for what they are, to help them sustain life, get back on their feet, and so that they can take whatever next step they need to, so they can be self-sufficient, right? And so it's very complicated. It's very nuanced, right? Yeah. There's a lot to that conversation, but I would say for my team and the people I work with, there are people who are just trying their best,
Yes, and that was the biggest thing that when I came and toured the facility. So I'm going to share my story. I don't think I've shared this in extent on the podcast, but after my divorce, I had 2 young children. My son was 2 years old. My youngest son was 2 years old and was presenting with autism. Yeah. And it was very, very difficult at 2 years old to get the pediatrician to, refer him to anyone. Because at 2 years old, they're like, oh, he's just delayed. He's just not hitting his markers. But my mama heart knew something was wrong. Yeah. And then, again, I had a 7-year-old son. And I was a single mom, 600 miles away from my family, self-employed, figuring it out in a mountain of debt. And I remember there were nights where I was just like feeding them. I would just feed them like ramen noodles and hot dogs because I could get it at the dollar store.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank God they liked it, but I knew that wasn't sustainable. And I did come from the very proud mindset, of you don't ask for assistance, you work and you earn everything, and that's biblical. But we forget that charity is also biblical, and that sometimes you're on the receiving end. Salvation is charity. We don't earn it; it's given freely. Yeah. And so, I remember applying for food stamps and getting it in the mail and thinking, there was so much shame that I felt around it. But I also remember the first time I was standing in the checkout line and I swiped the card and it went through and I had actual like milk and fruit and I cried, and thank God it was just this sweet young black girl and behind, and she was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm not crazy, I swear. And she's like, girl, you're fine, And we just cried together, And I'll never forget her because it was, she was like, you're going to make it. Like, now you're going to make it. And I remember, I still have that card in my wallet. And I was like, I know I can provide for my kids. I know this won't be me forever. This is just me for a little bit. And I was able to continue growing my business when I didn't have to worry about if my kids were going to eat or, and so God provided that for us, and I will never forget that, but it changed my life. It changed my outlook on everything. And I don't even hesitate to swipe my card in line. If I see somebody counting out change, it's like, absolutely, that's what we're called to do. And whether you are a believer or not, we are on this big floating rock together, figuring it out. We're trying to get to the finish line, in one piece. But you guys get it right. There is so much dignity in what you do, in every little detail that you do, that you don't have to. Yeah. It's, like you said, the self-service. Being able to walk down a grocery aisle. Are you kidding me? You're not throwing a cardboard box at somebody and going, all right, we'll see you next month.
Yeah. Someone said recently, and I believe this is what we're trying to do, you can't give someone dignity, but they can experience dignity.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And my team and I, our passion is to make sure that we provide from every interaction that you can experience dignity. Yes. You might not always, you might not recognize it, depending on your mindset and how you come. But we want to make sure that door is always open.
And love.
And always rooted in love and service. Yeah. Always in for you. I think the thing that we see it differently is, you said something that I always talk about. Even just this last week, we had our Christmas event for our families. And one of my goals is to help them understand and to remind them and just let them know, we're not doing this for you. We're doing this with you. Right? We don't need people to do things for us. We need people to come alongside. And I think the role that we're called to, of those who follow Jesus, is to do things with people. And I think dignity allows people to have choice. And oftentimes I've noticed in working with those in poverty, the one thing that they don't have, which is hard, is choice. You get what you get and just be happy about it. And that type of mentality, when you kind of pull that thread and you watch those individuals later, what else kind of where else, you see how then they just go,
they go along with it.
They go along with it, and then learned helplessness kind of sinks in.
That's right.
And they're just like, okay.
That's right.
They just give over to it.
Yeah. And so they lose the will to advocate for themselves and to say, I deserve better than this.
Yes.
We're
So,
preaching.
There you go. So our whole goal is that when they leave, and we just did an impact study this last year, and it was beautiful to be able to sit down and interview individuals, and we did a survey. So I felt like I got my doctorate, and we went through this whole.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, so we did an impact study, and we really wanted to understand. And the questions that we were asking is, do our programs actually work? Essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the essential question that we were asking. Yeah. And the two programs that we looked at were our food and then our shelter, so which is rent and utility.
Okay.
So we help someone pay their rent and mortgage to prevent homelessness, to prevent them from I always say the snowball getting bigger, and to help them stay in their home, right? Or pay for a medical bill, like deferred financial assistance. And so we asked the question, does this actually work? And then we went through a very systematic way of literally sitting down and asking questions.
Face to face.
Face to face. We had interviewed 20 for both programs. And it was amazing to sit there and ask these questions. And essentially what we heard back from them was, yeah, like I left. We had one neighbor who just said, like, when she came and got food, that she just felt lighter when she left. She felt that she could breathe. They felt that they just looked back at the groceries and they just smiled. Those are the parts that
I know that feeling so well.
And I hear that when you were able to get that food, that healing, it was God used that as a healing. To me, I see as a healing moment to say, I got you.
Yeah.
Right. I trust you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, because as a mother, you think, oh my God, I'm going to have to give my kids up. Like I'm an unfit mother. Like I'm not able to care for them.
Yeah, we stay in our head.
We do, because I think moms are harder on themselves than anybody else around us.
Yeah.
And so we will judge ourselves first. And so what you are giving back to these, I say from a mom's perspective, because that's where I'm at. But these people, it, like you said, is that little glimmer of hope and that, okay, I made it over this hurdle. I got the next one.
Yeah. We know that our food's not going to go and save them from everything, right? They don't walk out the door.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, there's times when we can, as the giver, can be full of that pride and think that. Like, this is going to change the world, And it's like, it does. But what it really is and what we heard, and it was really important for us to hear it.
Yeah.
It's giving them a time, just like one mom said from getting shelter assistance. And she said, I hope I don't offend you. And I was like, it's okay. Good. Yeah, say what you need to say. And she said, you really didn't solve anything for me. And I was like, true, right?
It like shakes you for a second.
Right.
Like,
But I was, and I knew that. Like, she's not. We weren't in helping her with her pay her rent. There was still a mountain that she had to climb.
Yeah.
But she said, you know what you gave me is when I left the room and I went to my car, I was able to breathe. Before I came in, I couldn't breathe. But when I knew you were going to help pay my rent, I was able to breathe. I was able to look at my life, what you talked about. I was able to have perspective.
Yes.
And that same person said, then I had the courage to actually, because of what you did for me, look at another job that was paying more. Otherwise, I really didn't think I had it in me.
Yeah.
But because I felt that, like, okay, no, I can do this, right? That encouragement, which
Yes.
from you, it was a government assistance,
Yeah.
which is, I think, what it's designed to do,
Yeah.
right? And then the same way our services too. So you put those things together,
Mm-hmm.
they really are there to help encourage.
I don't care where the help comes from. It's about Jelly Roll has this quote that I latched onto, and I thought it was brilliant because he said it in such a simple way, and he said, "It's not about doing everything. It's about doing a little. If everybody does a little, everything gets solved."
Yeah, I think we look at it as big, and I can do that.
Yeah.
Because of the perspective. There's some days when I want to flip over the table and be like, it's not working, it's too big, and because it is complex. And then I have good people around me and an awesome wife and then awesome coworkers and a team, and we just know, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Today, all I know is that we're here to serve people.
Yeah.
Today we're here to feed.
Yes.
Today is this rent. It's this thing, and that's all we're in control of. I was having coffee with a colleague and a friend, and he's a mental health provider, and just respect his perspective. He had worked in some pretty intense trauma centers and providing mental health resources to people, and we were just talking about that, like in serving people. And he said this line, so it's not mine, so I'm giving him credit. He said, "It's not our job to figure out the outcome. We leave that to God."
Amen.
We are here and we're called to just interact and care for the people right in front of us. Mm-hmm. And whatever happens out, we release that to God.
That's right.
And I think that's the perspective that we have as a team, as an organization. We can't solve it all. There's no way that we can solve these complex situations that people have. And in Williamson County, they're very, very complex. We don't have enough housing for people.
Yeah.
We don't. And adequate, affordable housing.
Yes.
A keyword, affordable.
Yes.
For people who are doing the jobs that they can afford, what's happening. They can't afford those houses that are out there right now. Mm-hmm. And so
the wages and the costs don't equal, they're not balanced at all.
But we feel in the midst of that, right? We're going to also be advocates of it. We want to be educators of it. We want to help those individuals who are facing those situations to be a voice to them. That's one of the things that we learned from our impact study. Is one of the key points is Williamson County is the cost of living is really, 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 really difficult. Mm-hmm. The same mom that I talked about before was saying it's a struggle every month.
Yeah.
It's a struggle every month. And so we want to be an advocate for them, and we also at the same time serve. So how do we have those conversations in the community and let people know, right? Because of confidentiality of our neighbors, hey, this is what we're hearing. Yeah. This is what we're knowing. But we also can't solve those things. Yeah. And so we really feel like, okay, what do we do with what we have in our hands?
Be a mouthpiece.
Yeah. Be a mouthpiece.
Raise awareness.
Raise awareness, educate. How do we educate individuals, kind of like what we're doing right now, educate about what's really happening in our community. Because like you said before, people don't know what they don't know. Yeah. You drive by downtown Franklin and you're like, oh, everyone must live like this, right? But you don't know that a mile from there, right, is a community. There's a mobile home park.
So there's a trend on TikTok right now where people will drive through Franklin and Brentwood and film homes, and they'll say, I wonder what this person does. Oh, yeah, and so everybody in the comments will take a look
I've never done that.
To guess.
I do that all the time.
But they'll take a look at trying to guess what they do, but that's the only side, like you were saying, the only side of this county that you really see. Nobody drives around and films the trailer parks. Yeah. Could we do that? Let's get that awareness out there because, I'm going to ask the tough questions that are going to seem like really hateful. Yeah. But these are the discussions that I see online of, well, if it's too expensive to live there, just move. Yeah.
We hear that a lot. We have people come to us all the time when we're talking about, with our neighbors about some of these things that they're facing. I would say, we talk about, hey, sustainability, how sustainable is it for you to continue to live in this county? Mm-hmm. We've had people who have come to us who used to live in Franklin and they moved out to Fairview. Mm-hmm. and now they can't even afford Fairview.
Fairview's growing now. Yeah.
And because of where the county is growing.
Yeah.
And so now they're continuing to be pushed out. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think it's a complex issue.
Yeah.
I think that education and awareness, and also as a community saying, hey, standing up and saying, no, we need more places for all people
Yeah.
to live. You know, the benefits of Williamson County schools. I mean, that's why I'm in Williamson County, my family and I.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of what happened this weekend, Dickens Festival. Like, that's what draws everyone, and that's attractive to everyone, and all people should have the ability and the access, right? And how do we create places so that can happen? Right? How do we build those places to where there are some, and there are places that are trying to make that, the Franklin Housing Authority, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. We partner with them, and they do great work in helping people with subsidized housing right here in Franklin and Williamson County to make sure to do that, right? And to care for people who are in those places, you know, that have maybe generationally lived here, but now they can't. So they can have access that way. But there's only so much they can do, right? There's only so much housing that's available to them as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's, again, much bigger, much
and
more
also
complex
moving,
situation.
You have to have money to move. You have to pay your deposits. You have to pay the moving costs. You have to pay, like, it's not just as simple as, well, if you can't afford to live here, just move. Did you not hear the problem? I can't even afford to live where I'm at now. Yeah. How do you expect me to move? And I think that people are getting lost in this whole, well, that's not my problem mentality. You know, it's a simple fix. Well, if it was a simple fix, don't you think they would have fixed it by now?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's not as simple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of, I think, conversations that are out there in the community that we should, again, educate and like advocate for.
Yes.
And say, hey, how are we having these conversations?
Yeah.
How are we caring for all people? You know, the people that are serving us at the McDonald's or at the restaurants and doing all of that. Like, those are the jobs, right, that they're having to have. How do we create also a place for them to have a place they can call home?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And so we had a mom talking about your story who shared with us in our impact study as well, who talked about how she thought about moving. Mm-hmm. But then she thought about her daughter who was going to go into high school, and she was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
What Williamson County offers, and it was around the arts. Like, she was applying for the Renaissance and wanting to go to that school and the benefit of that. And she was like, I want nothing more because I see the potential. But like, if I were to rip that out, what would that do?
You're right.
At a pivotal time.
And then it's a vicious cycle, because this may change her life and she may go on to do something better for herself. And so maybe look at it from a perspective of, I'm not just helping the single mom, I'm helping to change the trajectory of generations to come. And that, I think, is the reward, is what you don't ever see.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, going back to the point you made earlier, it's not your responsibility of what is done with your gift. Your responsibility is to be charitable. Yeah. That is morally and spiritually our responsibility. Yeah. God's never going to ask you about what I did with my life. Yeah. He's going to ask you about what you did with your life. Yeah. And so if you look at it from that perspective of, yes, I'm gifting this to her, but that ripple is going to potentially go through whole generations because I gave once. Yeah. You don't know. And that, again, lends back to, if I do a little, and you do a little, and you do a little, and you do a little, it changes, you know, people completely.
And that's what we see. I mean, at GraceWorks, we exist because the community supports us, right? Everyone does a little bit.
I'm still mind blown that you guys have worked with multiple denominations for over 30 years. I mean, you're clearly doing something right.
We think we're pretty, I mean, in humility, I think we're doing great. Yeah.
You can say it, like, we are the bomb.
Yeah. It truly is serving people at the core and trying to get the service and the dignity that would bring the healing. We and that's the thing. We hear stories and stories. Usually it's like years later, right? Because it takes time. People go through, what we notice is people, it's a year to two of trial that they go through for those who we interact with, because we meet the need in the immediate emergency.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of 5 years, so many stories that we hear of, I have to tell you, like, oh, GraceWorks helped me.
Oh.
I was low in this, and I went through a divorce, and GraceWorks was there to help me pay my bill. And now this person is, wherever they're working, and they're motivated by that. Like, we have so many stories that we've heard, and it was like, oh my gosh, you got one food basket.
Yeah.
Or you paid one rent bill.
Yeah.
Or you really don't know how much impact. And that's why I loved, we call it an impact study, the impact our services have. We just heard time and time again of people being impacted by asking for help. You talked about this, like, it's not easy to ask for help. And I believe, like you said, isn't that also the story of the gospel? Right? That the gospel essentially is, God, I can't do it on my own. You are the way, you are the example, and I need help. And it's time and time again, God's really been speaking to me about this, for me, hands of, like, letting go, the control. And it's just that constantly just opening my hand.
Yeah.
And something will happen and I'll close it real quick. It's like, no, you don't get to have that. But it's like, it's that opening that hand, right? And whatever messages we get that from, of what you talked about in your own life, like, we're supposed to be self-sustainable. Like, I'm not supposed to ask for help. No. And that shame that can come over. And I think I hope that we can also normalize the need, or the place to ask for help. And so that's also why we the way we do it is, we really want to be curious, and we want to make sure that we stay open in how we serve our individuals. Because for someone to come, they don't have to come in and pick out their food. They actually can just drive up, and we do a curbside, and we can put the food back in the back of their car, and then they can drive away. Because for some people, just that step is like right at the, it's right there. And they're like, that's all I can do right now.
Yeah.
And we serve all different people, right? You talked about driving by these houses and going, oh, I wonder what they do. And sometimes there's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain and a lot of, sometimes we have volunteers like, did you see that car? I can't believe they got food. I'm like, but we also don't know their story. That might be the only car they have. Maybe they had a really great job and they bought the car. They own the car. And now life has happened.
Yeah.
Selling the car might not be the best option right now. Whatever they might be doing, it's okay. We don't need to know all of those things.
Right.
But they're coming and they're saying they need help.
Yeah.
And I always remind people too, it's never fun to go to a food pantry.
Yeah.
It's not
we
like try to make it a really, I hope, like, I think our food pantry is fun.
Yeah.
But like, to actually come and shop, it's not the place where, like, they want to go. Like, if you, like, with your kids, the fact that you had the dignity to be able to provide and choose yourself, right? But if you didn't, you would have rather had to provide that for yourself, the own finances, right? And that's what gave you that courage to keep on going, so that you don't have to use that benefit.
Right.
And that's the same thing with our food pantry. We try to make that a redemptive experience, so that it gives them that encouragement. But no one wants to get to that place.
Right.
I remember struggling in my own life, struggling when we moved here. My wife and I started having this conversation of like, okay, when do we apply for food stamps? Because the jobs weren't coming. The things weren't happening.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, when do we cross that?
Yeah.
Like, when we don't want it to be too late, we don't want our kids to suffer. How do we, like, is that a place? And that's a very humbling place to be. And we didn't have to at that time. We would have if we would have, but I'm sure too, like, it would have been embarrassing because you're like, no, I'm supposed to do it on my own.
Yeah.
But I thank God that there's opportunities that as a nation and as a community, there's places where a mom like you could go.
Right.
And I think that's where,
And I
just
just
grateful.
talk about it from a single mom standpoint because I've never been a single dad. And so, but this
True.
isn't just for single moms. This is dignity for everyone. I mean, anything can happen. You know, there are deaths and illnesses and loss of jobs and things happen outside of our control. And that's what you're saying is that it's for everyone.
It really we really try to keep our barriers really as low as we can.
Yeah.
We'd only ask for what we need. We're not. We had one, and again in this, and I'm keep on referring to the impact study, but we had people share like, we're so grateful that you don't qualify us based off of income, because some of the individuals we interviewed talked about how, oh yeah, like a great job in a place, a reputable place. If I were to say the name, you'd be like, oh, they should be fine, right? But yet they were struggling.
Yeah.
And if we had a barrier, like a financial limit to what they could make, they wouldn't have qualified.
Yeah.
But yet she was struggling.
Right.
She, was not able to make ends meet. And so we were able to
the
meet.
cost of living is astronomical. Go out and vote.
Yeah. So we were able to meet that need. And that's what we heard. We heard time and time again. We're creating that place to where, and we ask good questions. We have a vetting process. We look at all of the things that we need to, and making sure that we're being good stewards of the finances that people give to us and the community gives to us, because we want to make sure that if there is someone who is maybe trying to game the system or whatever, that we really try to keep our hearts soft too. Like okay, but the parameters and the paperwork and the different things that we ask really help us to help make sure we're evaluating the situation in the best way, and learning about their situation to the fullest, so that we can get the funds and the need to the people who need it the most.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good point that I think people would tend to ask is, how are you vetting? And don't worry about that. They are. Don't worry. They got this. That's none of your business. But they are. You guys ask very good questions, and you stay respectful through the whole process, so as to not turn people off or turn people away. But there are multiple ways that people can, I want to get back to how they can support your organization, because I didn't know you guys had a thrift shop. Do you know how huge thrift shopping is here in Middle Tennessee?
Yes, all of my entire outfit, and I'm showing my shoes, everything.
Wait, those are thrifted?
Yeah, everything.
Fabulous.
Literally everything except socks and underwear. I draw a line there. Unless they're new, but these socks were actually thrifted too, because they came new. They're bonobos. Those are like high end. Yeah,
I've not heard of them, but yeah.
Sure, whatever. They give to homeless. I think they give to homeless. For every sock you buy, they give to homeless.
Oh wait, yeah.
I think so.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they'll put it on the screen.
I understand. Yeah.
Anyway, so it is an amazing.
Thrifting is like a sport here. There are whole accounts that are dedicated to thrifting, and you guys have one of the best thrift shops.
We voted the best. Am I not? It was the best. Yep.
Voted the best, and I can see why.
In Williamson County, yeah.
My jaw hit the floor when I walked in. I was like, how did I not know about this? And so that's what we're doing, getting the word out. Go shop the thrift shop, drop off. What all do you guys receive?
So thrift, clothes. We also have a furniture side. So we take furniture. We actually will come and pick up your furniture.
Okay.
Based off its condition. We really want the best stuff, because then we can sell it for the best dollar amount. We also use our thrift shop as a way to give to our neighbors. So under dignity, trying to provide that dignity, they can come in and get a voucher, and then they can go in and shop, and no one ever knows. And they can shop from all the racks.
I love this so much. You guys are just doing it so right.
Yeah. So they have those things, and pretty much everything. Certain things that we don't take, like medical equipment, some sports stuff. Like we have a whole list on our website. I can't think right now of everything, but just call and ask.
Yeah,
but
we'll have the link to your website and everything posted in the show notes and on our socials. But I'm so excited that you guys have made time to be here. And
Absolutely.
Thank you for being open and honest about all of this stuff. Because, there was something that went around when the government shut down. I'm not sure if you saw it, but people were calling churches and saying, I can't afford formula for my baby.
Yeah.
And the churches were saying, are you a member here? We're not going to help you if you're not a member here. And there was one pastor, I think in Kentucky, just little bitty country church.
Yeah.
And he was like, meet me at the store. I got you. Like, he went and pulled from his own pocket. And it was an uproar online about how Christians are not fulfilling their duties, their scriptural duties. And it was an opportunity for people to point and go, see, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why we don't participate. This is why. And I can't say I don't agree. I've been there. Like, I walked away from church as well. However, that's not a good reason for you to not step up and fill the gap and be part. Because if you're going to point one finger, there's 4 more pointing back at you, or 3 more pointing back at you. Like, okay, so they're not, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're being a hypocrite if you don't then step up and go, but I'll buy the formula, you know?
Yeah. We had, in that time, our community, Williamson County, showed up. And we created a plan. I'll be honest, like in Williamson County, we don't have the same numbers as other counties around us. Of the number of people who are on SNAP, who rely on SNAP. So we did see an increase. We saw about a 25% increase for a couple of weeks. But we were able to allow those who were on SNAP to come in without an appointment. We usually do it by appointment.
Right.
And get them in because our community showed up. Like our community, like we had churches, I think in 1 week, 25,000 pounds of food were donated. And that was all motivated by them, who then reached out to us. We had several, I can't remember how much money came in to support our food programs. Right now, I mean, our food pantry, we still have food that we have to process and get and put in our containers and do everything that's from that time that will feed our food pantry for months because of how people have showed up. So I would say here in Williamson County, we did see an amazing effort to help support the local food pantry so that we can ensure that anyone who didn't have that benefit, because it is a true benefit, like you said, how it impacted you without that benefit. Yeah. It's crazy now. We're hearing that because of that month, because of the benefits didn't go through, so many more people weren't going to the grocery stores and using those funds. So the grocery stores have all of this leftover food now.
Yeah.
And we rescue food. That's part of what we do and how we get food. And so now there's so much food coming in, even from the grocery stores.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable to see this side of it and be able now, and we're trying to give away as much as we can to the people, our neighbors coming in, because of like the surplus that they have, the surplus we have. So it's amazing that we are taken care of in this time. Like,
you know what that makes me think of? What's the scripture that says how does it go? What was intended for evil, God made good.
Yeah.
Like, this was all a manipulation tactic, and politics are politics. They're going to keep politicking for the rest of our lives. But it turned out to be a massive bonus here, at least in your situation. Because it all worked out. Everybody stepped up and showed up. And if that is not enough of a inspiration to people who are listening and, the people who are watching this on YouTube, like, when it seems like the deck is stacked against and everything's going bad, step up to the plate. Just do a little bit.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
Brian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having GraceWorks. Yeah, it's been fun.
Guys, thank you so much for listening in this week. It has been such an honor and such a joy to get to interview Brian and talk about GraceWorks. And we are so looking forward to working with them in the future and all of the things that we'll get to do in 2026. But make sure that you are still checking out donating the hygiene drive here in December. You can donate via PayPal, you can call in your donation, or you can just drop it off, because we always love seeing you guys. Until next time, see ya.